Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, y'all. Got the Sunday Patreon exclusive. Well, I'm live streaming it exclusive. I might chop it up and push it back out to YouTube, but it's live for the patrons. Get the live chat going, do some question and answers. Hey, Mike, Alexis, Joshua, Caleb, Barry, Mike, what up, y'all? Go Brownies. And actually, Alexis, that's part of the reason why I have to do this now. Sorry to do it so early on you. I know you probably just woke up. You're a couple hours behind Eastern, so I don't know, Central or Rocky Mountain? I forget. Hey, Joey, good morning to you. Anyway. 1 hour? Okay, so you're on Central. Nice. Yeah, so I want to watch the game, spend some time with the family. It's going to be a busy day for me. I also got to prepare for the new semester over at school at my job, so I got to do that tonight. So I might have to just kind of like figure something out as a solution for tonight's show on the YouTube side, but anyway, those are personal problems. Has nothing to do with you. All right, so happy Sunday, one and all, to my patrons that are here in the live. One of the perks of being a Patreon supporter is you get a weekly exclusive upload. You get early release access, to a couple of videos a week. You get exclusive speed testing at times. Sometimes it's a podcast. Sometimes it's a live stream. Different perks. So it's kind of cool to create like a community within the community. Oh man, lesson plans, Barry. Crazy. What if you got an extra home internet and tried testing two in parallel? So Alexis, I've been speaking to a couple of people about potentially bridging a couple of networks together, and it's something I'm going to consider and look into. Well, let me go ahead and get out of the pregame mode here. Let me change up screens. Yeah, what up, y'all? There, the video's on. So yeah, I've been in discussions with a couple of people about the potential of linking up and bridging the T-Mobile home internet with a Verizon solution. Their LT solution. So I think what that would do for me is it would allow me to improve my uplink tremendously because of Verizon's uplink being so strong here, and adding more downlink capacity as well, and improving the latency, because as of right now, my T-Mobile home internet latency is atrocious. It's like frequently 90% or better above 100 milliseconds. So it's way too high, and the jitter is pretty bad. I don't know. The uplink is also not very good. So I'd like to improve that. I think that bridge connectivity could really help there. So something I'm going to look into, and I'll definitely report back, see if I can figure something out as a solution. Test load balancing, see if you can move almost double the data both up and down. That would be the end game. That would be the goal. Because as of right now, the downlink's been plenty. I don't have any concerns or issues there. I'm getting over 100 megabits per second on the downlink. The trouble, the uplink leaves a lot to be desired. It's like 8 megabits. You start splitting that up between multiple devices. Now you're talking 3 to 5 on each device, that sort of thing. So, not that it's the end of the world. It's just, if I wanted to, live stream, and you really do require a healthy uplink stream in that case, it would be better to, improve that and optimize that. Barry says, I have my router configured to use Verizon MiFi as a live dormant backup for Comcast internet. Nice. And, a lot of people don't consider that, but backup plans, right? If your business, if your home internet is your primary productivity tool for work, man, having a backup is crucial, because power goes out and providers have outages and they could leave you without connectivity for hours, possibly a day or longer. So having backups and redundancies is crucial. I have essentially 3 or 4 backup options if I needed it that could carry the mail for days. Especially like when you think about power going out, right? That becomes an even greater issue, with utility services and stuff like that. It's kind of nice. Like my AT&T Business Elite line has like 100 gigs of hotspot data. I've got one of those. I've got multiple devices that also can do hotspot and tethering that are quality and very good and reliable. But also I've fandangled a little bit of Verizon connectivity that could potentially hold down the entire house with no issues. But, to show you how seriously I take my redundancy because of the YouTube channel, creating the content as well as, with work from home. I mean, we were at home for school for several weeks. So honestly, the backup and redundancies are crucial, and providers, they're hit and miss. Some are better than others. Some are a nightmare. They don't really serve their customers very well. They don't feel compelled to do so, so, and of course, it kind of depends. What's the track record of your provider? How much trust do you have in them and stuff like that? I know people have said that they plan on using T-Mobile home internet as a backup to their provider of fiber, and coaxial and other things. So, those redundancies, like I said, are crucial. They're important. No, it's not negotiable for me, Mike says, I've seen at Metro, if you port your number to them, you can get one of the new Plus Nord. Oh, a free phone, a OnePlus. All right, I will say that is compelling. To get a free phone just by porting sounds great. I wonder what the rebate is in terms of like the time frame. Might be like 6 months or something like that. But that would be interesting to consider for people that are in the prepaid area. Maybe you're a Boost customer, you're not happy. Maybe you're on some other prepaid or MVNO. That could be compelling to get a free device. Pretty nice phone in my estimation. I think it's a pretty nice mid-ranger. Yep. Thanks for the heads up, Mike. Used to have Fios and a neighborhood network that I balanced through. Failover was great when one went down and throughput better. Okay, interesting. I didn't even know that Verizon Fios was there in that market, Haymarket, Virginia. I know that they're pretty well developed in the eastern region of the U.S. I'm not sure what they're like in the western. They're spotty in the Midwest. They like Verizon Fios is available, but they pick their spots, where they chose to build out their fiber. So, Alexis, you're about to go through it with your Sprint devices, man, and I've got some of that in today's show. Let's go ahead and actually get to some of these topics. I got some interesting stuff. Yeah, Alexis, you can't beat fiber to home. It's the best. You're talking about gigabit speed, symmetrical, reliability, the satisfaction responses are amazing. It's the best. It's just not available to everyone, and it sucks. Which is why I think like a solution like with what Elon Musk is doing with Starlink, there's just great potential there, Let's go ahead and get started with some of these topics. Some good stuff here for everyone today. Those that are here in the live stream, the patrons, go ahead and, give me some commentaries. I'm going through these stories, and I'm kind of giving you guys the spin of things. All right, so let's start with story one. I love to keep you guys posted on all things Dish. For those of you out there that aren't paying attention or maybe just haven't caught it, Dish Network is going to be the new fourth carrier national wireless service provider in the U.S. It's a result of the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. They own tons of spectrum that they've essentially been squatting on and they haven't done anything with, which is frustrating because we as the consumers and the American citizens, would like an improved network option, right? So having the spectrum not being deployed doesn't help anyone, right? So we want to see it deployed. The wireless SVP of retail for Dish goes by the name of Paul Chappell, or Chapel. I'm not really sure about the pronunciation. Please forgive me. Who has deep roots with T-Mobile, actually, is a very busy man. He's got a huge opportunity here to play disruptor again, as he was part of the disruptive movement that is the Un-carrier at T-Mobile. So his first job at the new Dish Wireless company is going to be converting or making sure that Dish customers have access to devices that are going to be compatible with their Green Roots 5G network that they're building from scratch. Now, Paul Chappell was recently an executive over at Vodafone, company out of the UK, and he's been a part of these types of projects in the years past with multiple companies. It really does seem like this is kind of a specialty. I think Dish actually did a pretty nice job. They hired some good people. They hired the right people for the job, in my estimation. Me personally, I think they did a good job. They got Dave Mayo. They got this guy, Paul Chappell. There are a lot of T-Mobile people on this list. And the reason I think we see a lot of T-Mobile on this list with Dish is because T-Mobile was tasked with a lot of difficult projects like this, where you had to completely merge this Metro PCS thing. You had a ever-changing and evolving network that was growing pretty much on the fly. These are tough things to do, and I think they did a pretty good job. It took a little bit of time, and it looks like T-Mobile's kind of like fully integrated its business, post-merger. They've stabilized, that sort of thing. But the people that were there for the Metro PCS transversion and, the whole integration process, they did a fine job. All right, now, when it comes to Paul Chappell and his requirement of what's being asked of him, they're building this 5G network completely greenfield, right? Like nobody's done this before. So Chappell's going to have to make sure that everybody who's going to be a Dish customer has all 5G compatibilities on their network, on their device. I don't think the LTE is going to be a problem. I feel like that's kind of an afterthought. Shouldn't be an issue. That's pretty standard, like run-of-the-mill. But the 5G stuff could pose some issues. So his integration of device-to-network connectivity, making sure that everything is there on a person's phone, because if you're missing a certain band, it could be make or break whether or not you have connectivity and reliability. So I did a little bit of digging. We know that, Dish has 600 megahertz spectrum. We know that they have 700 megahertz. They've got a multitude of different mid-bands. What's interesting about Dish and their spectrum holdings, it's super, super hodgepodge. There's all types of discontiguous frequencies that they hold. They've got they were a part of pretty much every spectrum auction over the last 10 years, right? Charlie Ergen strategically just, got a bunch of spectrum from a bunch of these little places. And, you got all types of different stuff, little pieces and parts. They're all going to be a part of what Dish is going to do in wireless. But you got to make sure that your customers have all that access. So it's going to be a task that he's going to have to be very strategic about when it comes to phones and making sure that customers have the access. So the handset duty he's very familiar with. He did the same thing at T-Mobile. He was basically brought on by Dave Mayo, who is one of the head executives at Dish for this new wireless business. And Chappell was a big part of what T-Mobile did with 600 megahertz with Band 71. And I'm not just talking about the initiative on LT back in 2017. He was also a big part of what they did back when they started deploying, Band 71 for 5G. So he's the perfect guy for this job because he's done it before and he's got that experience. So remember that Dish is building this grassroots 5G network. They don't really have to worry about LTE because they do have an extended roaming agreement / network access agreement with T-Mobile, so they still have some of that in their back pocket. So they don't have to worry about LTE. That's, no concern. But it is going to be, the 5G adoption, the 5G initiative, that's going to be his baby. The Open RAN approach that Dish is taking should give them a lot of flexibility, should help them reduce costs. They get to work with all types of different vendors. I just think about a couple of things, and I propose this all to you out there listening, is will Dish strike any unique device manufacturer contracts? So I think about, like Apple and the iPhone. Could they strategically put together some kind of a business plan with them? Might they do something with Samsung, especially with, like mid-range devices that are more affordable? Could they do something there? Like with the Samsung, Galaxy A devices, the A71, the A51, you look at these mid-range or entry-level models that could be very affordable, but could they be configured to work really, really great with, oh my God, Caleb, you just frickin' read my mind. I literally had it written down, OnePlus and Google. I think this is a huge opportunity for OnePlus to kick in the door in the North American marketplace. The reason why I thought OnePlus immediately was because OnePlus has been dying to get into carrier stores and to have some kind of a retail mind share, and if OnePlus could develop a set of devices, maybe just a couple, that really hit a very specific price point, that feel and act and behave like flagships, but price very modestly, like $500-$600, or maybe like buy one get one promos through Dish, some kind of a promotional kickback, and something like that. I feel like that would be very helpful to the OEMs, and then obviously benefit Dish. So I instantly thought of that. It's interesting you thought the same thing. I thought of Motorola as well. We need different manufacturers creating and producing phones outside of Samsung and Apple. I mean, especially Apple, who has an absolute stranglehold on the smartphone marketplace. I mean, no other company really matters all that much outside of the iPhone. Nobody has mind share and nobody has market share. And we wish that would change. But I think the affordability piece is going to be huge there, like promoting it, giving people deals. Chappell has ties to HTC. He's got connections there. HTC has been an afterthought in smartphone manufacturing. In fact, I don't know the last time they made a phone. I mean, I haven't heard of a release from them in years. I know they've been focusing on some other products, and I think it's their VR headsets, and it would be nice to see them make a comeback in this way. I think it's a lot of opportunity there. Another thing I'll throw out there is when I was doing a little bit of digging on this, because this is really a network story. It's really about 5G and networking for Dish. I found, through some digging, Dish's AWS-4 is actually going to be band 70. Wow, I had no clue. And it looks like it is indeed going straight to 5G. So the AWS that AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile utilize in the form of like band 4 and band 66, that will not be band 4 and band 66 for Dish. And specifically, obviously, because it's going straight to 5G, it's not going to be deployed as LTE. Like I said, Dish is going to be utilizing a roaming access agreement with T-Mobile for the foreseeable future. I think essentially they could work on the T-Mobile network for the next 7 years, right? So they got 1 year in the books. That would be as of, I don't know, like August or something, whenever they made that deal official with the Boost acquisition and so on. But, yeah, it's going to be band 70. Had no idea. AWS-4 on Dish is going to be band 70. And I'm just going to go ahead and safely assume, I don't see otherwise, it'll be N70. right, straight to 5G. And they've got a nice sized chunk. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at Dish's spectrum holdings. I mean, they're not bad. It's a little bit less than it's a little bit less than the old T-Mobile spectrum holdings. It's a little bit less than the old the Verizon non-millimeter wave holdings as well. But it looks good, you know. Got the dog barking next door. Sheesh. Freaking dog, get out of here. That's my neighbor's dog, Roxy. All right, so, you know, I thought it would be interesting to kind of like bring this up. You know, as of now, I feel like, you know, Dish has put the right people in place. We don't actually know too much about the actual network build. We know that they have successfully built and started transmitting a tower site in Colorado near their headquarters, and that seems to be all and well there. But they don't have any like 5G markets launched. They're saying expect something, you know, towards the end of the year, Q3-ish type deal. So we'll follow that. They are gaining some wireless experience with Boost Mobile. You know, they've got some of that experience under their belt now. They did create that Ting acquisition, and they will be operating that for a while as part of their business plan, their execution, and garnering that experience, right? So I'll keep you guys updated as more stuff becomes available in terms of the form of updates and information. I will definitely bring it to you here on the Patreon page and on the YouTube channel. Most definitely. Mike says HTC has a new phone coming out later this year. Not sure if it'll be in the U.S. And you know what's crazy, Mike? I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't come to the U.S. because that's where they really failed the business, right? They didn't have any mind share or market share in the U.S. So, and it wasn't that their phones weren't good. I loved HTC phones. The HTC One M10, legendary. The other phones, the HTC One M7, the 8-9, all those phones were great. I don't know if it was a difference of marketing and pricing and people just kind of moving towards iPhones or Galaxies. It was a shame to see the way that company just fell apart in smartphone sales because they made good devices. I really loved the Google Play edition of those phones. Absolutely tremendous. Take a sip of my coffee here if you'll excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and transition to the next story. This might help some people out. I just thought I'd throw this out there. AT&T is offering a new discount on HBO Max. Some stipulations, so you'll definitely want to know these details. So listen carefully to a couple of these things. All right, so the discount itself is a nice little perk. It's like 20% off. It does require, though, that you pay ahead for 6 months of the service. So essentially, you're kind of like bulk buying in a way. You can actually, I think this promo was going on for a while, but they've extended it from January 15th to March 1st. So you have until, March 1st essentially to take advantage of this option. If you've been on the fence about getting the service and the thing that's been holding you back is paying $15 a month, well, this does make it a little bit more attractive. The price is a little bit better. So at 20% off, the regular price of $90 for those 6 months of service goes down to $70 for the 6 months of service, which works out to like $12 per month as opposed to $15 per month on the regular pricing. So basically, you get a $3 per month monthly savings. You just got to pay ahead for the 6 months. The issue is that it's non-refundable, so that's kind of a stipulation as well. So make sure that you want it. Maybe, try the service, have somebody get you a login or something like where you can access it and see if it's something you might want. Look at the list of programming they have available. Maybe you even want to just pay the first month $15. Try it out, see if it's worth, getting for an additional 6 months, if that's something you want to do. It is available to new and existing subscribers. There's going to be a lot of Warner Media exclusive movies on the platform in 2021, so it may be the right time to buy in on the subscription. A lot of the movies that are going to be released this year are going straight to the HBO Max platform, and they're not going to theaters. Or if they are going to theaters, they're also going to be on HBO Max. So you don't really have a reason to go to the theater to watch these movies. You could watch them on your phone. You could watch them on your smart TV. You got a Chromecast, you got a Roku, whatever the case may be. You just don't have to go to the movie theater and spend $20 on popcorn and $15 on a ticket and all that stuff, especially if you got a family. Come on, let's not pretend like that doesn't matter. You take a family of 5 to the movie theater, you're spending over $150. Tickets alone are going to be like $60. You get each of them a soda and a popcorn and some candy. You're going over $100 easily. So, yeah, that's definitely a lot cheaper to spend, $70 for 6 months. Even if you were to re-up through the rest of the year, that's $140. So going to the movie theater during COVID, right, and that pandemic, one session, it kind of pays for itself for the course of a year. So something to consider. I don't know if anybody's interested in that. You could take advantage of that deal. It's not a bad discount at all. 20% is pretty good. In my opinion, I think it's worth it. All right, next story. I actually forgot to cover this on Friday's podcast, and I wanted to do it quickly for those that are Patreon members that are thinking about potentially upgrading their device to the newest, latest, and greatest flagship from Samsung, the Samsung Galaxy S21. They had their launch event this week, and there's some things that people need to know. I already did a video on it. I did a quick little, thing on the YouTube side to let people know what the Samsung Galaxy S21 devices are and what they are not. So if you missed that, then this could be some important information that could help you. So whenever you upgrade your device and you go with a flagship, you're going to be spending a lot of dough. Unless you get a really nice trade-in offer from a carrier or from Samsung, you can actually get some pretty good deals. So the deals are compelling enough to where you might want to pull the trigger. But there's some things you need to know so you can align your expectations fairly. All right, because I think some people are gonna be disgruntled and disappointed with some of the things that Samsung is doing. All right, to get things started, first and foremost, the Samsung Galaxy S21 devices have all things 5G. That's low band and mid band 5G. So sub 6 gigahertz is there on all devices, obviously. So if you're a Verizon customer, we're talking DSS. If you're an AT&T customer, with that dedicated N5, 850 megahertz, they're also doing DSS with like band 2, and they'll be doing it with band 14 and band 30 and all this. And T-Mobile, obviously, with band 71 and band 41, okay? So that's all there. All phones, all 3 models, the S21, the Plus, and the Ultra also have millimeter wave. I'm not sure where the discrepancy or the issue was, on launch day. A lot of people were saying, it doesn't have ultra wideband. They must have confused it with a different technology that's used for like contact sharing or something like that. Or so it was some kind of payment feature. I forget what it was, but it's called ultra wideband. That's not this. When we refer to ultra wideband, frequently we're talking about Verizon's millimeter wave variety of 5G. Not to be confused with this technology, this ultra wideband thing. So all things 5G, including millimeter wave on all 3 devices. So make sure you know that. Now, in terms of the pricing actually isn't bad, because the regular S21 is $799. By current pricing standards, that's pretty much right there. The iPhone 12 is priced at that point. I feel like it's $799. It's like $839 or something like that. I don't know. It's like right there in the ballpark. So if you don't have any alliance or allegiance to Apple or Samsung, and you don't have like an ecosystem dedication, like with a MacBook or iPad, iPhone combination or anything like that, this becomes a good consideration because you have a choice within the same price range. The phones, the other ones, the Plus is coming in at $999. The Ultra at $1199. That's pretty pricey. I can't pretend like that's cheap. Those phones are expensive, $1,000 and $1,200. So consider the pricing there. Now, where things get aggravating are the omissions and the changes they made to the phone's hardware. Okay, so last year and in previous years, Samsung has made all their Galaxy S phones flagship to the truest form, the highest possible resolution they could give them to market standards. So they were Quad HD. Last year, if you got the S20, 1440p resolution display. Same thing with the Plus, same thing with the Ultra. This year, if you want a 1440p display, you can only get the Ultra. This is why, in my opinion, I feel like this is an upsell. Because they're basically saying if you want the 1440p resolution display, you got to spend $1199 to get the Ultra. So the smaller one last year and the Plus last year both had 1440p, not the case this year. That's aggravating. And it's 100% an upsell because only the Ultra has it. Now 1080p is not bad, but how you gonna regress in video resolution? It's 2021 and we're taking flagships and we're giving them lesser specs. I'm not with that. That's kind of aggravating. The other thing to this is all models have lost the SD card slot, which the SD card support has been a staple of what Samsung has been doing for years to give their customers flexibility in storage. There are people, many people, who buy a Samsung strictly because they have SD card support. Now you eliminate that, you have alienated a customer segment of your business. I think that was a bad move by Samsung to do that. And when you think about regression in the display of the smaller and the Plus, and only leaving the 1440p on the Ultra, and then taking out the SD card slot, it's a regression. You're eliminating or removing features, which is annoying and is going to make customers rethink where they spend their money this year on flagships. It's disappointing. There's also no charging adapter. You know, the brick that you plug into the wall. That's not in the box. So you're going to have to buy one from Samsung or buy one from a third-party manufacturer. You may have one from a previous generation of device, but man, you're spending $799, $999, or even $1199 on the Ultra, and you don't get a charging brick. This is straight Apple nonsense. Basically, Samsung has become Apple 2.0. They're not any different. And the worst thing about it is frickin' Samsung trying to dog Apple and pretend like Apple's the problem, and then they go and do the same thing. You know, it's absolutely hypocrisy at its highest order. So pretty aggravating in my estimation, and pretty annoying, and you know, they've just become another company doing this. I really don't want to buy the Samsung Galaxy S21. You know, I really don't. I don't want to do that. I'm not even a big fan of their software, but the hardware has been the pinnacle of smartphone hardware, in my opinion. They're always using the latest and greatest chipset, modems. Their displays have always been tremendous, super bright, super high resolution, very enjoyable. You know, speaker quality has always been there, but the software has never been my cup of tea. I'm more of a, Google Android kind of guy, like with the Pixel devices. But when it comes to accessing service mode and other cellular aspects, I've always, stuck with Samsung dating back all the way to the S10, so ever since I've had the channel, I've counted on Samsung, and also because timing. Like, they're the first phone, usually they launch in February, to have an Android flagship with the latest and greatest chipset and modem. So, and that's the case this year. They actually moved up the launch into January, probably because of lackluster sales in the S20s from last year. From what I understand, they even discontinued the S20 series. So you can't even, unless a retailer has stock, you can't even buy it from Samsung anymore. So that's something important to know. There are people that are going to look back at the S20 and say that was a better phone than the S21. But the problem is the S20 was not even a great phone. So that tells you where Samsung's offers this year might be a red flag to stay away. So Samsung, basically the new Apple. I really don't want to buy the S21, but I will for testing's sake. The millimeter wave bandwidth is going to be impressive. I can't wait to test that out. Carrier aggregation, multiple channels there. What T-Mobile does with N71 and N41 on a carrier aggregation standpoint. Will we see voice over NR this year? There's a lot of things from the RF side. I know they're going to have like an AI, artificial intelligence, algorithm and software capability that's going to improve signal strength and so on. A lot of this technology will be in other manufacturers, but Samsung's the first, right? They drop in January and February. So that's kind of why that's like the option for me, like I can buy this phone now in January and then test it for the rest of the year and not really have to worry about buying another phone. Like that would be the model to have. But I'm really looking forward to a Google flagship. I much prefer Google's take on software with the Pixel lineup. I like Moto's better than I like Samsung's. It's much more stock Android-ish. I don't know. Am I telling you not to buy a Samsung Galaxy S21? It's an upgrade, right, in so many different levels, but it's just important to note the regression in the displays, the micro SD card loss, the charging brick. Those things are real things to consider. The trade-in deals are tremendous from Samsung. The carriers, they'll give you a free one with a trade-in. Like, they're giving you every reason to buy one of these. I just don't know if it's going to fit the bill for a lot of people. It may be better to hold off for something else. If you do end up upgrading, definitely report back. Let me know what you think of the phone, and I don't know. I'm definitely going to have to buy at least one for the sake of testing, but I'm not excited about it. Coffee. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this next story. Millimeter wave breakthrough. This one is tremendous. All right. There is a company that has achieved, using millimeter wave spectrum, millimeter wave technologies, they have achieved gigabit speed or near gigabit speed over the range of over 7 kilometers, which for those of you that are stateside, right, so non-metric, that is over 4.3 miles. Let me tell you guys something. I don't need to remind you how much I am excited about millimeter wave technology. I've been following millimeter wave evolution and technology for the better part of the last 3 years. In fact, in what was it, like 2017, 4.2 miles? Thanks, Barry. Appreciate that. In 2017, when the technology and like spectrum auctions and all that was starting to really brew up, I thought to myself, man, this stuff is going to be great. We've been using this in satellite, there's all this, the National Broadband Network, NBN, has confirmed very close to gigabit speed, over 7.3 kilometers. That's far. That is really far. Working in partnership with Ericsson, Qualcomm, and Casa Systems in Mortlake, Victoria, that's Australia, the company is really pushing the envelope in millimeter wave. I'm telling you guys, millimeter wave is absolutely tremendous. It is a game-changing technology. There are a couple of obstacles that have to be overcome. There's some barriers that will prevent millimeter wave from being truly effective and grand scale. I'm telling you, though, these companies are figuring it out. They are going to make sure that they will make millimeter wave as efficient and effective as possible. I think the company also stated that they plan on increasing the range even more, and they plan on improving the signal over that range even more, which is crazy. If they're at 4.2 or 4.3 miles now, and they can push the envelope to 6 or 7 miles, my goodness, that would be most impressive, especially if they can maintain signal strength, preventing it from degrading over that range. They're saying that in its current iteration and its testing, expect a 4 to 1.5 downlink to uplink ratio, which means essentially the downlink could push the gigabit speed. The uplink would go well above 250 megabits per second, possibly into the 300 plus range. That is crazy. I love it. This is a great story. This is an amazing advancement in millimeter wave technology. The reason why I'm excited about millimeter wave is because millimeter wave offers these incredible wide channels. Everything we've had up to now with 5G has been like 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 20 megahertz. I mean, just recently we started seeing, T-Mobile, and Sprint, I'll throw them in there, with 40, 60, 80 megahertz channels for NR. But millimeter waves like 100 megahertz, 200, 800, we might actually see Verizon do a 1200 megahertz connection with like 2 channels, like 800, 400, wherever they hold that much in licensing, it's possible. Alexis brings up Wi-Fi at 53 miles using Pringle cans. I don't know if that would scale. That seems amazing. And I love Wi-Fi. When Wi-Fi is good, it's a great solution. But we're even talking about, like, for this, I think this application, Alexis, is more about home internet service providers and business internet service providers. That's what it means to me. It's screaming a new option for wireless customers to have more competition in choices. So, like, let's say, for example, your home internet service provider is stinking it up, unreliable, overcharging you, they're failing, a lot of outages. This brings another legitimate option to you, even if you're 7 miles from the node point, which is just absurd to consider. Joey, exactly what I was saying, right? Fixed wireless solutions to bridge that last mile. Totally agree. And if you think about it, the capacity would be there, right? You could offer, several hundreds megabits per second. It's going to be fiber competitive because of speed and performance. The company says that it wants to have 75% of its fixed line customers on millimeter wave broadband by 2023. 75% of its customers within 2 years. They're going to accelerate this. They're going to develop it very, very quickly. I'm ecstatic about this type of solution in the U.S. So this is happening in Australia, and I think up until 2020, they hadn't really done much with millimeter wave. Now it looks like it's starting to pick up steam there. Verizon's really pushed the envelope here. I know Facebook is doing some work. Sebi kind of put me on that information. Guys, this is great. For those of us out there that are really excited about Starlink, for those of us that are excited about T-Mobile Home Internet, Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband Mobility and Home Internet, the potential here is great. And more options coming to people, to customers. The home internet service providers don't have us by the balls anymore. We have got the power when we have options. I don't want one service provider option. I don't want 2. I want 3. I want 4. I want redundancies. I want competition. If my service provider starts to fail and falter, become unreliable, maybe the performance is starting to degrade, maybe the grass is greener in pricing, I want options. This is going to do that. I don't know. For the last couple of years, I've been explaining to people my thoughts and impressions on millimeter wave and its potential. Some people don't see my vision. Some people don't see the vision of Verizon or any of these other providers that are building it out. I don't know what else you need to see. What else do you have to hear and learn about to truly understand ultra-wideband services with millimeter wave technologies are the future and will be an absolute game changer on so many levels, both in mobility and fixed wireless, both for consumers and in enterprise. This is not something that anybody's going to negotiate. This is a thing. It has nothing to do with low band and mid band. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with a business model. Is it T-Mobile versus Verizon? It has nothing to do with that. We're talking about legit capacity coming to fixed wireless and mobility, ultra high capacity. You know, T-Mobile threw around this term of ultra capacity. In a 60 or an 80 megahertz channel, that is not ultra capacity. Millimeter wave with 100 megahertz, 200 megahertz channels, the throughput potential is far higher. That's really ultra capacity. I understand the limitations, but clearly they're working through those limitations. The technologies continue to improve and evolve. I don't know what people need to see to open their eyes to understand how huge this is going to be on consumer wireless, enterprise wireless, and home internet options. You gotta love it in 2021. There's the potential for a lot of greatness. New options, compelling options, competition. What do you want better than that? What do you want better than I'm super amped for this. We got one more story for y'all, and then I'll be letting you guys go for the rest of the day. Appreciate you guys hanging around. Big shout out to the patrons that are here in the live, and hashtag replay crew for those that missed this and are watching it on DVR. All right, let's take a look here at this last story. Oh, Caleb brings up the point in 6G, so next generation, 1 gigahertz channel sizes. Incredible. I don't even know what that would be like. What are we talking, man? 100 gigabits per second on a consumer network? You would literally send like an 8K file in like 0.8 seconds. Crazy. T-Mobile is blacklisting some phones. They're basically killing service on a set of devices. This is going to greatly affect customers that have these phones that are both T-Mobile or Metro customers. It's actually going to affect Sprint customers too. So potentially that could be an issue. T-Mobile is going to begin this phase out like January 29th. So just here in a couple of weeks at the end of this month. The original OnePlus, the Sony Xperia Z3, the Note Edge from AT&T. There's a couple of HTCs on this list. There's some Huawei's, some ZTEs. There are a couple of devices. Anyways, you can find the list online. I think T-Mobile and Metro also put out blurbs on their websites, and they sent emails and notifications to people with these devices, so they know. It's going to affect T-Mobile and Metro customers completely. They will lose all access to the network. It's also going to affect Sprint customers because it will lose the ability to roam because of the T-Mobile network reliance, right? So that's going to be an issue there. This is all due to a network update. I'm not sure what the reason is in particular. I wasn't able to identify it. I don't think T-Mobile actually disclosed it. But previously, there was an issue with, I think it was voice over LTE on a previous set of devices. So I don't think this is actually a voice over LTE. It's some other problem. It's an issue that previously unrelated to voice over LTE. So the problem is there has to be a network update sent to these phones, and the manufacturer of these phones, whether it's HTC or OnePlus or whatever, they stopped supporting these devices. So updates can't get to them from T-Mobile. So unfortunately, all network connectivity will be ending. It's not just certain features. It's not just certain aspects of the network. It's completely losing network connectivity. If affected, you obviously can contact Metro by T-Mobile. You can contact T-Mobile or Sprint, whatever your provider contact is. to arrange for some sort of upgrade. See if they'll give you some kind of a trade-in deal or a promotion or a discount on a new device that puts you in something better, and leverage it, right? Use it to your advantage. Say, hey, I was perfectly happy with my phone. I was paying my service. I don't want to buy a new phone. You guys are going to have to knock my socks off on a good deal. So I'd be curious to know what exactly the update is. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the fact that they don't have 600 megahertz compatibility, and that's going to be a big focus of, shifting over to the 5G aspect of things for T-Mobile network customers. We'll have to wait and see if I can uncover that. If I do find some information, I'll obviously update at a later time and let you guys know what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find the list. It's on the T-Mobile website. You can just Google search. You'll find it. It's a list of like 10 or 15 devices, I'd say. So that's it for the show. Just want to let you guys know that. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts and opinions on any of these matters. I thought the millimeter wave story was pretty cool. Very excited about that. The T-Mobile devices, check to see if you're affected by that. Also, the Dish news, anytime I can bring something about Dish, everybody likes to know, when they'll be ready to deploy their 5G network and so on. So that's exciting. And there's some football being played today. That's right, Alexis. Go Browns. Hopefully they pull off a big win. Super excited about that. They play the Chiefs. I think the other game is the Bucks at the Saints. That's a big one. You got the old men QBs going at it back and forth today. So we'll see who pulls it off there. The big win puts them in the NFC Championship. So championship weekend next week. This is going to be huge. But yeah, that's it. Thank you to all my Patron supporters. Thank you to Alexis, Caleb, Barry, Mike. Thanks for hanging out. There were some others here earlier. I wonder if they're still here, but we'll give them a special shout out too. I did see Joey was here. If he's still here, good to have you, and thanks for being a part of the community, as well as Joshua. Thank you guys so much. And for those watching this on replay, #replay crew, appreciate you guys. Enjoy the day. Have a great rest of the weekend. I hope you have a great week as well. Man, what is it, like the third week of January? C-band finished up. Hopefully within like 10 days, we'll know what happens with, who bought what and so on. Oh, hey, Gene, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. So, yeah, there's stuff that's happening. Super excited to bring it to you. Thanks for supporting, and we'll continue to bring the news and the content to you guys here on the Patreon side as well as on the YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show. For those watching this on replay, obviously, if it's your first time here, consider subscribing. If you want to get exclusive access and perks associated with the Patreon page, there's a link down below. Check that out. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for being here, and have a great rest of the day. You guys are the best. Thanks for supporting, and we'll see you soon on the next podcast. All right, take it easy, and we'll see you then. Peace.